Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, October 18th. Skipped yesterday. Yesterday was cruddy. I went from a great high, everything is awesome Sunday to a pretty cruddy Monday. Oh well. I have now reached Tuesday. Tuesday's movie day. If I choose a fun movie, I may be able to turn things around. And because there's only one more movie in phase one, I think I might as well just go ahead and conclude that. I mean, I shouldn't just leave it hanging. You know, I've gotten through all the other films in there. Might as well finish off the Marvel Studios Cinematic Universe Phase 1 with a movie that I saw in theaters titled The Avengers, but that here is titled Avengers Assemble. Probably a better title. But it's I don't know if it's the British or the European or what specifically. It's the title of that first Avengers movie because conflicts with whatever the old TV show, The Avengers, which no relation. But that I know of because of all those bonus features on the James Bond movies that I've watched, which reference it. So Avengers Assemble is where our Avengers all get assembled together to make a team to fight Loki on Earth. Now, we've been building up towards this, and that's fun. That makes this a lot of fun because we saw like Iron Man and then Hulk, and then Iron Man 2, and Thor and Captain America, and it's all just building up towards this as we assemble our different pieces. But that wasn't the way that I first saw it. I first saw it as a standalone movie. It was the first of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies that I watched. It was the first one, was The Avengers. I went to the theaters with some friends that were going to my church at the time. We went and watched the movie in theaters. It was fun. It was fun. It was superheroes, and it was a big team up of them. And I didn't know anything about really any of them because for two reasons. One, I hadn't seen any of those movies, and two, I didn't grow up on Marvel. I knew X-Men. I grew up with, you know, I've watched the X-Men movies, and I knew, like, you know, Batman, and was at least somewhat familiar with things like you know, Superman and some of the other heroes. But I grew up on Batman. And then when the live-action X-Men movies started, I did watch a fair number of those. But I hadn't seen... and I had actually seen the Hulk, not the one that's part of Marvel Cinematic Universe, but the one that isn't. I had seen that. But obviously that's not directly related anyways, so whatever. But yeah, so that's where I came into this series from. But it was the first of the Marvel movies that I saw. And I liked it, and I was like, yeah, I should check out those movies whenever they team up again. Although, I did, we'll get to it in phase 2. There was another one I saw after this, but before they teamed up again. But, yeah, so this was the first of the Marvel movies I actually watched. And if I recall, I walked away from it thinking, like, I think Pepper Potts is in this one. I think I remember thinking she was a cool character, and that I really liked Captain America. But it was a fun movie. It was a fun movie. So, I'm gonna watch it again. Only now I think the title card is gonna call it Avengers Assemble. And I would give Avengers Assemble an 8.6 out of 10. It's a good movie. It's a very simple movie. Like the plot. I suppose it needs to be. Look at how much it's trying to bring together all at once. But it's good. It's fun. From Wikipedia. Marvel's The Avengers. Nick Fury, the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., gathers the superheroes Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, the Hulk, Black Widow, and Hawkeye to fight Thor's brother Loki, who plots to subjugate the Earth. Yeah, that's it. Story. So we start in this underground SHIELD laboratory basement, whatever thing, where they're experimenting with the Tesseract. Poke, 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 poke. It's doing something on its own. What's it doing? Oh, well, we're told, oh, it's a door. Doors can be opened from both ends. Out comes Loki. Loki messes things up about the base, steals the Tesseract, off he goes. Gotta get that back. So, work is started where Nick Fury is arranging his Earth's mightiest heroes. And so we start being introduced to our characters. To, Bruce Banner and Steve Rogers. To Tony Stark. We're just collecting these heroes. Starting to assemble them. Eventually we get them into our helicopter area. And up we go. We're trying to, at this point, some of them, I'm not sure why they're there. Protection. But a few of them are definitely there because the goal right now is to track down the gamma signal from the Tesseract to find where it is and where Loki is. But they're trying other things, like they're matching cell phone camera data to try and find faces and stuff like that too. So while they're trying to pull all this together, they spot Loki. All right, let's. At this point, we just have. We send in Cap. So Cap goes in. He starts duking it out with Loki. A cool scene of. It takes place in Germany, and basically him drawing an inspiration of his original fights in Germany. And things start going bad. Iron Man shows up. Iron Man was recruited, didn't show up before, now he shows up. He's in. Alright, and Loki's like, okay, you can have me. Suspicious. But off they go. Taking in Loki. Okay. But on the way back, Thor shows up out of nowhere. Yeah. He takes his brother because he's trying to track down the Tesseract too. So, off Iron Man goes and Cap's gonna head out. And we get a great line. Great line, because Black Widow is like, hey, I wouldn't go. Those guys, Loki, Thor, are basically, basically gods. And here's probably the moment where my brain triggered when I first saw this movie. And I was like, I like that guy. As Cap goes, there's only one god, ma'am. I'm fairly certain he doesn't dress like that. Yeah, good old boy. Anyways, so, Cap's awesome. Off they go. We get a little scuffle between Thor and Iron Man and Captain America, and they decide we're working together. We all have the same goal anyways. A little fight, and we're good. And so back all of them go up to that helicarrier. Now with Loki in prison. Prison designed for the Hulk, by the way. Which I'm sure makes Bruce feel good that they designed a prison for him. Anyways, so they're all like, well, what's going on? They're trying to, like inside the SHIELD helicarrier, Tony's trying to gather intel. Banner's thinking about what's going on because he doesn't trust what's going on. Eventually, they talk about it, and then Rogers is also, snooping around because he's like, something ain't right. They're right about that. Something's not right. What's going on here? And Loki's fine to be held prison. He's there on purpose. He's trying to make people upset, particularly Banner. He's using his magic staff, and he's manipulating them from a distance. Whatever. Loki powers. Anyways, it comes to light that SHIELD is working on basically Tesseract-powered nuclear weapons. The kind of weapons I'm sure that Hydra was using, those Tesseract-powered weapons from Captain America: First Avenger. Oh man, that does not make Cap happy. But they're like, well, yeah, we're doing it because of Thor. Because all of a sudden we found out that not only are these few powerful people on our planet, but there's just worlds of people that are all more powerful than us out there. And so they're trying to come up with a defense. Makes sense. Not the best option. Makes sense. It's a fear-based option. Anyways, here comes brainwashed Hawkeye in a jet. They're coming in to the helicarrier to break out Loki. And things work with Loki and whatever. Explosions and things happen. Hulk's out. Big action scene. One of the 4 rotors for the helicarrier goes out. Cap and Iron Man have to go fix it. Loki's gets broken out. Agent Coulson, who's been around all along, he's been working on recruiting these guys since the first movie. He's there and he's killed by Loki. He's okay with it. Nick's all like kind of, but Coulson kind of dying words is like, nah, it's okay. It's never going to work if they didn't have the motivation. He dies to be the motivation. So Nick goes to his locker, gets his Captain America card collection, rubs his blood on it, and motivates the guys to work together because Coulson died believing that they would. He died believing that heroes could work together. And it works. Manipulates them, but it works. So, at this point, Loki's gone. Got to figure out where they're at. Of course, he wants a stage. They're going to be in New York. Okay. So, at this point, Thor and Hulk got scattered off the helicarrier. But we got Hawkeye back. Knocked him out of his mind warp from Loki. So, Hawkeye, Black Widow, and Captain America all get in a jet, and they're heading off to New York. Iron Man flies himself there, talks to Loki a bit. Loki's hanging out at Stark Tower. You know, that's where he is working to open up the gate to bring in his army to destroy the Earth. Fair enough. Chit-chat. Battle starts. Army starts pouring in. Everyone starts showing up. Thor arrives to try and manipulate things as well. Some fighting happens. Things start getting pretty bad. Big monster aliens coming. Bruce Banner rides up on a little bike. Gives his secret. He's always angry. Destroys the thing. Haha, yes, victory. And Loki calls out, all right, send in the rest of the army. And we find out that this was just an advanced force, and there's so much more just raining down on them. Destruction. Large battles all over the place. Avengers versus aliens. Oh, it's battle-tastic. This council that apparently is the top of S.H.I.E.L.D. is telling Nick Fury, hey, we're sending in a nuke to nuke New York. And Fury's like, no, that's America. And they're like, yeah, we're doing it anyways. So he calls into the Avengers, like, hey, you got a nuke coming too. So they finally figure out how to close the gate. And Iron Man's like, don't close the gate. And they're like, but they're still pouring in. He's like, don't close the gate. So he picks up the nuke, headed towards New York, and he steers it on up into the portal, blows up alien forces inside. They close the gate. He falls out just in time. Dramatic moment. The battle is won. Oh, wait, no. We still have to address Loki. Loki yields. Thor takes Loki and the Tesseract back to Asgard for punishment in the next Thor movie, I guess. I don't know. I literally have no idea. Now I guess I get to know that. Maybe that'll be addressed there. The Avengers have assembled, though they go their separate ways. They can be called upon when they're needed next. There you go. That's the movie. It's pretty simple. It's a pretty simple, gather people together, they fight with each other. Objective 1, come back, fight with each other. Main objective, everyone works together. beat the bad guys. But it's such a complex movie because of all the characters involved. So many characters, so many main characters. Now, there were a few things from, because, again, this movie was the first way that I was introduced to all these heroes. This movie does a great job of introducing all these heroes. In fact, this movie does a better job at an origin story for Hulk than the Hulk did. Because it at least expresses that the thing that Banner was trying to do was to replicate the super soldier serum that Captain America was made with, which makes sense because the general in that movie had access to that super soldier serum, so like there was some stuff being done with it clearly, but he was thinking, okay, he was basically using gamma radiation to try and stabilize things and make it work, because again, the guy from Captain America died before he could give away his secrets on how that formula worked. Which means it was another failed attempt at doing super soldier serum that caused this. That's a better origin story, or a more existent origin story for Hulk than was ever presented in the Hulk. Hey, but at least we got it eventually. So that part was better. Now, there are things like the fact that Steve Rogers knew Tony's dad fairly well. And that relates to a single one-off line of, is that really the guy my dad used to talk about all the time? That's the only relevant line that we have related to that. That's it. Or the Bifrost. The bridge from Asgard, from which they can travel to Earth. And my brain was like, how does Thor get there? Because at the end of Thor, it's broken. Thor can't get to Earth. He no longer can get to Earth. It's not an option. That's what we know. We know that it is not an option. So I was wondering, like, I don't remember how they addressed that. How did they get Thor to Earth in Avengers? Well, Thor shows up, and he's talking to Loki, and Loki says, oh, this must have been good for you. Daddy must have had to use, like, all his power to send you here, since the Bifrost's broken. That was it. We got that. Daddy can just do it. Odin can just send him anyways without it. How? Why? Who knows? We do know at the end that the power of the Tesseract was able to let him go back. So maybe that will be utilized in repairing the Bifrost? But it's just like, it was pointless that it was broken. It was not a relevant thing for this movie. Oh. Again, maybe if the Tesseract allows it to be fixed, then maybe it's relevant for the next Thor movie. But just the little things that I was curious to see, how did they address them in this? They don't. And again, their cast is full. We got, what, 7 or 8 main characters? There are 6 heroes. Nick Fury. Loki. Yeah. 8 main characters. And we're telling all their story. We're introducing them all, because this movie did prepare that you may not have seen any of the other movies, and it was fine. It introduces them all. Has a lot of long action sequences, and lets us see different characters battle throughout. What is a battle between Iron Man and Thor like? What is a battle between Thor and Hulk like? What cool things can Hawkeye do with his arrows? How does Black Widow spy? How does Black Widow battle? What's the fight between Captain America and Iron Man like? What's the cooperation with Captain America and Iron Man like? So much. So many just little things throughout to be like, this is cool. Let's do it. But it does mean that some ties to some of the previous films just are kind of swept under the rug. Again, I give this an 8.6 out of 10. It is a fantastic film. There are some ties to other films that I wish it would have had. But as a standalone movie, I am blown away with how good this is. It's a good movie. And I know that some of the repercussions of this movie are felt in as we go into Phase 2. Phase 2 got talked about a lot, like they're using this term Phase 2. Phase 2 apparently being making the nukes powered by Tesseract, or whatever that. But then the fact that also Phase 2 is the next, they're using phase titles for the universe. I don't know which one came first. Was this the end of Phase 1 first, and that's why they're talking about Phase 2? I don't know. But our Avengers did assemble. And it was fun. I had fun. And I'm going to call it a night. Should probably try and watch a few non-Marvel movies before I jump into Phase 2 myself. Because once I got started on this, I just kept pulling my way through. Because it was fun. It was fun. I hope that they continue to release little box sets like this for the future phases. And that maybe as we're ultimately nearing the end of Phase 4, that I'll be able to get one of those. And at some point try and actually catch up. Because at a certain point I am just behind. I've been behind for a long time. But at a certain point it's relevant. All the same. It's fun. It's a good movie. Thank you for joining me. Join me as my journey continues.